Oh, hello, Jonathan. How's it going? Look how sunny it is right now in LA. Thomas is in there somewhere, but can you hear me? And is everything audible and good to go? Well, no one is saying anything in the chat right now, so I will just show you around this porch that Thomas and his roommates have. It's very lovely. Got some nice stuff down there. We've got a bunch of packs out there right now. Thomas and his roommate are switching rooms, so like the inside is really disheveled right now just because it's all the furniture from the rooms are out in the living room, but usually it's like spotless clean. What are you having for lunch, Jonathan? Hello, Jason. Yeah, I guess it is still afternoon here. I don't know, I forget where you are from, but back in Ohio it'd be evening. But me and Thomas have not shot arrows in a long time, I don't think. Sounds like a good lunch. Leftovers are never a bad thing. That dog's barking. Yeah, I'm trying to think if I have anything. Oh no, I have lots of interesting stuff to talk about, but I'll get into that if a few more people join, maybe. Yeah, I heard about the snow. I guess that's like a way of nature pulling an April Fool's joke. Which I'm really sorry that we didn't have an April Fool's video on our channel because I really wanted to, but we ended up not getting around to that just because we've been busy and dealing with other stuff. Kind of tired. But it actually was raining when I first got to LA, which was kind of ironic. But it's been super sunny out here. Hello, Joel. How's it going? Anyway, no, yeah, there's lots of stories to tell. Oh yeah, so I don't know. I feel like I'm not sure, honestly. I feel like we took to it equally quickly just because it was really just about walking. I will say like my snowshoes were getting undone for a second, for like a moment. But I really want to try snowshoeing with like genuine wooden spruce root snowshoes. Hello, Emmy, and hello, Andy. This is a very like zen feeling space. But yeah, these are not real vines, but I feel like these were here last time, but I'm not sure. But this porch has become really nice. Anyway, I don't know. I'll show you the camping equipment again. Got all sorts of stuff going on in there, just because right now Thomas is moving out of his room and switching with his roommate. Well, but his roommate. Oh, Uruguay! Wow. Hello, Santiago. What time is it over there? I guess it wouldn't be that different. But... So I've been in LA since the 20th of March, which feels like a really long time. And I mean, it kind of is. So me and Thomas were talking about how like at the end of all this, we're just gonna like not want to see each other for a whole week at least after getting back. But no, it's been fun though because we went on a little mini road trip. If you saw the sort of late weekly update we put out on Friday, you'll see that we went snowshoeing in Tahoe. What else did we do? We went to some hot springs, went back to Lone Pine, and camped at Point Reyes, which is awesome. Thank you, Nancy. Appreciate that. My hair's a little messy. But... is he going back? Yeah, so that's the whole reason I'm out here in the first place, is because he's planned a road trip where we're going to film some episodes and some videos. But basically, he has to drive back to Columbus. Look who it is.
That's a lot of people. Who's all there?
It's 14 people.
Oh, I like this new setup, by the way.
Yeah, that's their new.
Hi, Emmy, Andy, Jackie, Santiago, Jonathan, Nancy, Emmy.
You want to join?
No, I got to go back and clean a little bit. Andrew. Oh, Esther. Hi, Esther. How are you doing? All right. I just want to come back and come in and say hi to everyone.
Yeah.
We're in the midst of everything.
Here, let me show them.
Sure, I'll take everyone on a quick tour. So this is the I can't swear, can I? This is the mess we're living in right here. Here. This is my roommate Dakota. What's up? We're live streaming right now. Hello. We're cleaning this room out. He's moving into this room. And this is the mess that we have to deal with. We have to clean this all before our other roommate gets home. All our camping stuff, all our Legos, and there's the office right there. And yeah, that's it. That's it. Here you go, Andrew. Back to you. It's your time.
Okay. Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay, so what did I miss? So yeah, he is going back to Ohio with us, and that's the whole reason we're doing the road trip, because he has to drive back because he's got stuff to move. I'll be sure to tell his roommate that. His roommate has actually been featured in one of our videos. I think the Red Rock Canyon video. His name's Dakota. So Andy, I don't think we know yet where we're going in Texas. I think the plan right now is to go to Dallas. Yeah, because I think Dallas is like the closest place in between the previous stop and the stop after that. Yeah, like anytime I've had an experience with moving, like back in college, every time I had to move out of the dorm, it just made me, like, I was a nerd who enjoyed reading Walden, and I just keep thinking of this quote where he's talking about how the fox who gets his tail lost in a trap is lucky because he has less to deal with. And every time I had to move out of my dorm in college, I was like, I need to throw like all of this out or donate it or something. And I got it down so that all my stuff fit into one cart. And every time I saw people having to like shovel carts and carts of stuff out to the car, I felt bad for them. But I haven't had to move myself in a while, but oh, okay, Rebel Eye, I won't tell him that then. But yeah, no, I mean everyone in LA is very attractive. Like it's I mean it makes sense. It's LA, but it'll make you think about moving out here. Yes, Robby and Bryan will be there for Zion. We're still not exactly sure what we're doing in Zion. I think we're actually thinking of doing 2 separate hikes. So 2 people do Angel's Landing, 2 people do this other one that's like in a canyon. I forget which one it was, but which, I mean, sounds really cool to me, and I'd definitely be okay with that. But it's also like kind of a shame if we have to miss out on the other hike. But I mean, whatever. I'm sure we'll be back at Zion sometime in the future. Oh, you live in Austin. Okay. I mean, I'm trying to think because we might be going there possibly. I think we like ended up having another day in Texas that we didn't expect, but it might be spent like camping out or something. But I'm not sure if any of that is finalized yet. So if we do end up going to Austin, I'm sure you'll hear from us on our Facebook page like in the next few days. Nancy, the highlight of the road trip. It's funny you asked that because something just dropped. Okay, so it's funny that you asked that question because when Thomas and I were on that mini road trip, each thing that we did seemed like the highlight at the time. So we went to Point Reyes, which is really beautiful. You like the hike started out in this very like spring foresty kind of thing. It felt like a Midwest spring, like just plants growing out of the forest. And then suddenly the trail takes you to this big ocean view. We started a fire on the beach, camped out. But then the next day we go to Tahoe, and it's like we've traveled back in time to winter. It's super snowy. Um, we stayed the night there. Then the next day it was sunny out, and we went snowshoeing and like hiked up this mountain ridge. Not all the way to the top, but still like got an amazing view of the lakes. But I think the highlight had to be actually on the day that we left Tahoe because we were sort of road tripping back, and Thomas surprised me, taking me to this beautiful hot spring, like completely natural hot spring, just this stream surrounded by mountains. There's these like pools of hot water, and it was like nice and chilly outside, so it was perfect weather for that. And yeah, it was awesome. And there's another story to that that I think we were about to tell Robby on his last live stream, but it's probably not family friendly. So I don't know. If you really want to know, you can message us on Patreon, and I'll send you what the story is or something. But it is not family friendly. What's the highlight? Oh, Narrows. Narrows, yeah, actually, Jonathan, that is it. So, Joel, the way I learned plants, it started out when I was actually applying to grad school like 3 or 4 years ago. No, was it 5 years now? But anyway, I was applying to grad school, and it was like winter break, and I just felt kind of out of it. And I was like, I need to do something besides like focusing on this. So I went to the Ohio Department of Natural Resource website, and they have a tree list up there. And I basically just started like teaching myself the trees, and I would start going on hikes through the park. And this was in the winter time, so I started learning all these things. And my dad actually knew a few of them, but I learned more. And what was good about that is I learned to identify the trees just based solely on what the bark looks like. So there's like, I mean, at least for a novice, it seemed like all these subtle differences that you would never have noticed unless you looked really carefully. So I think that helped me get an eye for learning plants. But then down the road, like every hike I would go on, I would take pictures of new plants and search on the internet, try to figure out what they were, and then I took some classes here and there as well. Took an Ohio plants class. Do I need to redeem myself after the gnocchi? No, I feel like I did redeem myself with that pseudo fried rice because even though it didn't look good, and even though it technically wasn't fried rice, it tasted really good. But I mean, I don't know. I actually think that I'm a decent cook. It's just really hard to cook fancy things when you're out camping. But so I should probably like practice those beforehand. But the whole reason I do that stuff is to show that you don't have to just eat like pork and oatmeal on the trail. But I mean, what would I make for my next meal? I don't know. I don't know. I could just fall back on calzones again. Those are always good, I feel like. Yeah, Nancy, you can just message the Patreon page and I'll address it. It's a weird story, but yeah, the spam is solid. Oh, so what songs do we have playing? That's a good question. A lot of like folky, like new folk and old folk kind of music, stuff that like fits with the outdoorsy feel. But I think Thomas also had an audiobook playing that was a Star Wars book. And I mean, we were actually going to be taking two cars, partly because all four of us won't fit with all this stuff, and also just in case something happens to one car, someone else can go and get help. So if I'm driving, I'll probably listen to a fair amount of podcasts about a variety of things. And yeah, I don't know. Esther, I'm glad you enjoy that because I really think like a lot of times if you want to get creative with camp cooking, all it takes is like looking at other cultures and seeing what they have too. Because there's like so many things that aren't perishable, but you can cook them and they taste really good. The next thing I do want to make actually at some point, it probably won't be for a few episodes because I'm not going to do it on this road trip or our backpacking trip that we're going on. But I do want to make fufu, which is like this Nigerian sort of. It's got a texture almost like raw dough, but it's cooked and you can eat it and like you're supposed to pull little balls off and dip it in stew. Usually eaten with like okra stew. But yeah. Um, Let me see if I can pull the itinerary up so I can like have a better idea of what we'll be doing. So we are going to Vegas on the first day, stopping by Death Valley. And then after that, we are headed to Zion, then Antelope Canyon and Monument Valley, which I think like that day it's just going to be a lot of getting out of the car, looking, filming some stuff, but nothing too intense. Um, what's my favorite thing that I've made while camping? I feel like the calzones are definitely up there. The stew that we had in Algonquin was really good. The hand cut noodles or whatever, they were more like dumplings than noodles, but those were pretty good. We had those in Yellowstone. I'm trying to think. No, I mean the hot pot that we had. Actually, you haven't seen this episode yet, but we had hot pot in this most recent episode that we're working on. But that was super good. Yeah, Jonathan, we were debating whether or not we should go to Grand Canyon or Monument, but I don't know. Like Grand Canyon is a much more popular search term, I feel like, but Monument is just super cool. I mean, so is the Grand Canyon, but I think at least some of us have been there before. Thank you, Nancy. I appreciate that. I'm glad that it has your approval too, because if you are a foodie, then that means that I'm not at least because I feel like people think that I just constantly mess up the dishes that I make, but I mean they taste pretty good. I think if I don't say so myself. Joel, that's awesome, and I'm really glad that it's always amazing to hear that people have been inspired by our show. Um, and I mean, originally we made it just so people could watch it when they're holed up or when they're getting cabin fever or something. But it's awesome to hear people are getting out there because sometimes I also worry that the show makes people not want to go out because they can just watch stuff on YouTube. But I guess it doesn't have that effect. Oh yeah, Jason, that was a good one. That was Brian's doing though, so he gets all the credit for that. And we kind of like froze the meat beforehand, and we knew it would be a cold day, so that's why we got away with using raw meat. But yeah, just cooking stuff in a kebab is like it's so good. It's simple, but it's good. Um, oh, much. That's interesting. Yeah, I've heard hiking in the actual Grand Canyon can be really cool, but if we went, it would probably just be like us stopping and looking, which is I think why we ended up going with Monument Valley. But Andy, that's awesome, and I'm glad at that the food meets your approval as well. The brand of down jacket that I worn in Japan. I'm trying to think. I think I actually have to pull the video up because I don't remember. Because I know the black jacket that I had was actually a synthetic, like inner lining of a winter coat that I have. I think Brian's was. Oh, his might be Columbia actually, or REI. I'm pretty sure his was either Columbia or REI. And I've worn a red down jacket before, but I gave it to a friend, but that was also REI. Yeah, Japan might have been one of our coldest episodes. And I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I like we've gone on some cold episodes recently. But Japan was super cold at night. But I also have better gear now. So Nancy, I actually was originally planning on doing this while cooking, but me and Thomas decided that we are gonna go out later, just because like he doesn't want me to mess up their kitchen any more than I already have. But I usually cook like I mean, so I'll get into phases where I'm stuck on a certain meal, but something I like to make a lot is roasted vegetables. So I'll take like Brussels sprouts, cut them in half, some carrots, zucchini, cauliflower maybe, and like toss it in oil and salt and pepper and bake it in the oven. Sometimes I like to make spicy noodle soup. So that's like a broth with a shiitake, onion, and anchovy base, and then put a bunch of vegetables and chili powder and noodles in there. what else? I make like ground cauliflower a lot because it's got this very like substancy filling texture. But I usually put like curry and artificial crab meat and other stuff like that. Actually, a really simple dish, which is like it's like a dish that a college bachelor would eat, but it's kind of fancy looking. Is you take artificial crab meat, some avocado, and you dice it up, put it in a bowl, and mix it with like sriracha and mayo, and sprinkle sesame seeds on it. Rebel Eye, I'm excited for the next episode. Yeah, it's much snowier, and unfortunately, we haven't gotten. I don't know if we'll. In fact, no, I do know we're not going to be able to get it out early release this month. We were hoping to, but it's just there's just too much stuff to do, and we've been too busy. And like Thomas's computer, when you turn it off, it sometimes like won't boot up for hours. But that's I mean, it'll definitely be out by next month though, and it's much snowier. I just wish like we could bring it out when it's also snowy in real life, because it'll be like nice and springy out. Ironically, it snowed in the east just yesterday and today. So, sounds like something. Yeah, no, actually, the roasted vegetables definitely was influenced by Robby. Um, I mean, I had always liked Brussels sprouts, but I rediscovered my enjoyment of those. So Jackie, yeah, no, Dolly Sods is a beautiful place, and I think it definitely feels kind of remote and alien, but I think it still feels like really nice because everything is open and sunny, or at least if it's a sunny day. But it's like open, big meadows, and you can like get really good views. I would recommend what is the trail? Backbone Trail or something? The Ridge Trail, Rocky Ridge Trail. I think that's what it is. If you go to Dolly Sods, we never showed that in an episode, but if we ever go back, then I think I would definitely want to do that trail. Yeah, I don't know. Imitation crab meat, like I wonder if this is just like sort of an Asian thing because it is used in a lot of like sushi and stuff. But like it seems like such a subpar food, but it's really good. Chef in my fridge. That sounds really cool. I'll have to check that out. I I sometimes avoid food shows on Netflix just because I know it's gonna make me really hungry. So I have to like be cooking dinner while I watch it so I have something to eat. Oh yeah, my mom told me about that because she said she was making that same thing and then happened to see his vlog. It was like a coincidence, but actually, I mean that I do kind of want to make sushi on a trip. So maybe this time I'll like cook the rice beforehand and figure out a way. I don't know. I like the idea of cooking stuff from scratch when you're camping though. It's just when you're trying to film it and you're dealing with like cold weather, it gets a little tough. But sushi is definitely very plausible to make when you're camping. Field notes from Wild Spaces. In terms of not going outside because you can just watch it on YouTube, we don't feel that way at all. Watching you guys and others makes us itch. That's awesome. I guess that's like, yeah, no, I guess that's exactly what I was just saying about food shows. It's, it like makes you want to actually do that in real life. So that's good to know. Um, and yeah, I don't know. Maybe it just depends on how the show is presented or something. But I definitely get that. I've had moments where I'll be watching people doing things in a show, and I'm just like super impressionable. Like I remember a long time ago, we visited Robby when he still lived in New York, and like so much of what we did was based on Seinfeld. Like we went to the real Soup Man, which is the what the Soup Nazi's based on, and we bought a black and white cookie somewhere, which there's like an episode about that. So Andy says, "Oh, totally. Your videos have definitely inspired me to go outside so much more. Thank you." No, that's like awesome to know. Asked my wife if she had any questions, and she wants to know if you guys have ever run into anything odd or creepy characters specifically. So odd, yes, actually. When we summited Mount Whitney, he wasn't creepy. He was just odd. But this like really raggedy looking dude, maybe middle aged. He's like really scruffy. He comes walking up to us as we're like about to leave the summit, and for some reason he's like speaking German. And this was a month after we had done our Germany episode. So we asked him like, "Do you speak English in Germany or in German?" And he said, I forget what he said, but then he started speaking English. and he told us that he hadn't had any human contact for the past 6 days. And so we were talking with him, and like anytime we would stop, he was like, "Oh, please tell me more. Like, talk to me more, because it's been so long since I've interacted with anybody." And I mean, he was really cool. He was like a nice guy, but he was just you could tell he was a little loopy. But he like signed the little guest book on the summit, and then told us he was heading to another summit. I think like what is it, Mirror Mountain or something? Some mountain really nearby that he was also going to summit. And so I guess this guy was just like going from summit to summit. Creepy characters, I don't know if I have, but I will say one of my friends saw someone with like a big swastika tattoo when he was camping in Wayne at some point, which is really freaky, but I also don't. I hesitate to tell that story because I don't want to deter people from going out camping. But um, I mean, once in a while, I guess you run into people who aren't very cool. But like 99% of the time, everyone you see out in the wild is a really cool person. Yeah, no, see, Nancy, that's what I'm saying. Like, cook from scratch. I'm all about that. And also, I feel like it's more fun to watch if there's more steps that you have to do. Um, what scares you from solo camping beside darkness at night? I don't know. I mean, I guess maybe something like if I had to encounter a wild animal or if I got bit by a venomous snake. Um, but those don't actually scare me that much just because there's things you can do to prevent that most of the time. Yeah, I think it's not so much something that scares me or that would prevent me from doing this, but just one of the biggest obstacles when you're solo camping for me is the psychology of it. Just because, I mean, it's amazing, but like if you're hiking uphill and you're getting tired and kind of worn out, and there's no one else there to like keep you company or to encourage you, then it can really like get it on your nerves. But that's also kind of why I want to go solo camping again, but don't tell my mother that. No, I mean I don't know if I'm ever going to anytime soon, but I guess what I'm saying is that's why it appeals to me is like there's such a challenge to it. Um, anyway, I actually have to use the bathroom really quick. So I'm gonna hand this to Thomas for 1 minute and let him entertain me. Thomas, I'm gonna let them watch you do this. I just need to use the bathroom. 1 second.
Hello. I can't read the comments.
That's fine.
All right, sorry everyone, we can't read the comments. This is a no swearing zone now.
Oh, we're gonna get a copyright takedown from our music.
We are going to get a copyright takedown. I wonder why Andrew just constantly needs to use the restroom. I think Andrew must have it.
That's probably true. Like, I think, well, we were convinced you had to take one.
No.
I mean, you eat so much.
I do eat a lot, but like, not nearly as much as Andrew, not nearly as much as he eats.
I'll let you be the judge of that one. It does make sense.
You should. I was talking about your bowel movement.
Oh, no, yeah, this was a number one.
Oh, this is a number one.
What did they say about my bowel movements? Fill me in. Okay. Spiders crawling in the ears, yeah. For some reason, I used to get really creeped out by bugs, and I still sort of do. But for some reason, the thought of like sleeping on the ground doesn't really bother me. But I would probably feel different if I was in an area where there were like much more dangerous spiders. But actually, if you watch the Allegheny bloopers, then yeah. So there's a blooper from the Allegheny episode where me and Robby are in the tent, and there's like a daddy long leg, and I just grab it and throw it out. And like, I don't know, just maybe 6 or 7 years ago, I would be way too freaked out to do that. But I remember when I was solo camping in the Smokies, I was sleeping on my tarp, and these daddy long legs just kept like trying to crawl under my tarp or near my sleeping bag, and like I get creeped out by bugs, but I just eventually learned to grab them by the leg and like move them back outside. Because it's just like, I mean, they are way more scared of me than I am of them. So I think a lot of like overcoming that sort of fear just has to do with learning about how they work. Oh, very nice. Someone linked it. I'm assuming that's Bryan, but yeah. Yeah, those are the Allegheny bloopers. But yeah, I wish I had like something interesting to show you all, because I feel like sometimes you guys might get bored of just me answering questions all the time, but I don't know if I have anything too entertaining to show. So Jackie says, I was in Shenandoah this past weekend and stopped at the same parking area you guys were at. Oh, that's awesome. I chuckled when I saw that yellow chain that threw you off. Yeah, yeah. Sometimes, like, when we are filming, especially with me, like, because actually Bryan pointed out that it was a different trail and I didn't even, like, put it together. But, like, when I'm filming, it's so easy for me to miss, like, important details. I don't know. I just have the sort of mind that, like, looks at a broader picture, but doesn't really hone in on certain details. Have I ever gotten lost while solo camping? I don't think so, but I also haven't gone solo camping like all that much. Um, in fact, I think the Smokies is the only place where I have like really solo hikes. I guess Zaleski too, if you count that. But that was only like a day hike, and I camped with the other guys. But yeah, no, I've never really gotten lost because I camp in places where usually there's like clearly marked trails and stuff. I would love to do a solo hike out in Dolly Sod someday or something. Yeah, no, Nancy, I mean, certain bugs are also way creepier. I know Thomas is like particularly freaked out by centipedes. But I've just one thing that still freaks me out are those like house centipedes with the long hairy legs, but even those I've sort of stopped being too bothered by them. And apparently they eat lots of pests, so it's like whatever. But I think one thing I don't like is when there's like a swarm of things. Ever thought of starting up a garden? Yes, actually. It's funny you mention that because I was told that some of the compost I left in my soil got thrown away because it didn't look aesthetically pleasing. But basically, I have this patch of dirt that I've been putting a bunch of organic matter on. So like anytime I chop a cauliflower or eat an avocado, I'll take like the skins or the stuff that I don't eat and just dump it out there. And my hope was just that the soil would become more organic. And once I get back from this road trip, that's actually the first thing I want to do is start my garden. Um, and I mean, I think it got a decent amount of organic matter before somebody cleaned it up. But yeah, I'm definitely thinking of starting a garden. And I actually have had a garden the past couple of years. Last year I grew green beans. They were bush beans. Some zucchini, some tomatoes that a friend of my parents gave us. I have a goji berry bush actually, which is pretty cool. And I grew some bell peppers. This year I'm hoping to make my garden much more vertical. So like I want to hang some strings off of this pole to let like some beans climb up. Because I'm working with a very limited space. So the more vertical you go, the more output you get. So I don't know. I'm really looking forward to starting that, and making it look really cool and seeing what it can grow. My mouth is dry. I need to get water. But my favorite kind of terrain outdoors climate. 1 second. Okay, so by the way, don't judge me for drinking out of a plastic bottle because I went on a hike with another friend and we both forgot our water, so she bought some water. But I've been reusing this bottle since, and I will be during the duration of the road trip. So favorite kind of terrain outdoors and my favorite climate. Honestly, I think my favorite climate is like, oh well, climate as in like a climate zone. I think I like temperate climates. So just basically what the Midwest is, just because I like the variety. But I mean, my favorite type of weather specifically is like what the Midwest feels like in the fall and spring when it's nice and cool, but still kind of sunny and just perfect temperature. But my favorite kind of terrain, that's tough because I love big open meadows and mountains where you just feel like out in the open and you've got a majestic landscape. But I also really like forests. And again, that sort of depends on what season it is. But like in the fall and in the spring and in the summer, if it's not a horrible humid day, I just love like wandering through the woods and finding things that are growing. It helps that the forest is also like a very healthy forest because I've been in forests where a lot of invasive plants grow. It's no fun. Yeah, south for sure. It'll take some time, and I mean that's kind of the fun of a gardening. I think is like you watch it grow over the time, and you also like it's kind of nice that you don't have to constantly tend to it. You just sort of let it do its thing, pull some weeds once in a while. Yeah, so actually tomatoes, I wish I could show you this, but I have a mason jar with olive oil and sun-dried, well, dehydrated tomatoes. Because I had, I think, grape tomatoes, and I sliced them in half, dehydrated them, stuck them in some oil. I still use them, and they kept for an entire year, so that's like a great way to use those if you don't eat them all. Part of me also wants to grow like bigger tomatoes and pick them when they're green and fry them. But I don't know, fried green tomatoes. I'm getting like really hungry thinking about this now. I don't know. You all should suggest what I wanna grow or what I should grow. Because right now I'm thinking climbing beans, uh, tomatoes, etc. No, the vines aren't real. They are definitely fake. But yeah, actually, Brian, you've never been to Thomas's place, have you? No, you have. Duh, Yosemite. Okay. Yeah, these are not real, but there are actually real plants, which were not here last time I was around. I think his other roommate, made this little planter box just the other day. I've been getting into house plants, but part of me wants to grow things that are also edible, just because, like, to me, I like the idea of things being multi-purpose. So, like, not only aesthetically pleasing, but also edible. Oh, there's Robby. And your mom. Oh, hello. Yeah, cucumbers to make into pickles. That's a good idea. I don't like cucumbers when they're raw, but just if they're prepared in any sort of way, or if they're on a dish where they go really well with them. Like I made a Chinese zhajiang mian recently. Zhajiang mian. It's basically like Chinese spaghetti. It's noodles with this like sort of sweet meat sauce, and you put fresh shredded cucumbers and carrots on top. It's so good. Yeah, herbs. I would definitely want to grow herbs. I grew basil last year, and they lasted for a while, but then I got mealy bugs, and they killed the plants. But the great thing about basil is you can just prune it, and the more you use it, the more it'll grow back, and it'll get like bushier and bushier. And I really want to grow cilantro because I use that a lot, and possibly parsley because I make tabbouleh sometimes. But yeah, I was thinking of like talking about stuff on this live stream if there was any downtime because I was thinking today about like being zen, but maybe I'll just save that for when I get around to starting a weekly vlog, which I think is going to happen once I get back from this road trip. Andy, I will be happy with the yard full of cilantro, to be honest. I'm just kidding, but I do love cilantro and I use it a lot. I know that some people have like a certain gene that makes it taste like soap to them, but I've only thought it tasted like soap one time when they were inside of some dumplings. But yeah, I bet. Actually, that's another video I want to make when I get back. Is a video about all the stuff that grows in your lawn, like all the weeds and how they're actually edible and useful. I'm just hoping, like, I think my parents' lawn might be getting sprayed. Unfortunately, I'm like kind of against it, but they just don't want to deal with stuff. But yeah, no, I want to make a video about how like you can maintain a lawn with minimal care and you'll actually have a lot of stuff that you can use. Because there's like so many wild flowers that not only look prettier, in my opinion, but also are actually edible or medicinal or both. Oh, Jason, I'm sorry. I mean, I'm curious if like other herbs taste weird to you. Like, does mint, like fresh mint on something, or parsley taste weird to you if it's in a dish? Yeah, no, I'm on another note. I'm really excited because it's been really nice out here, but when I get back, it's going to be like the height of spring out in Ohio. Oh, that's so funny. I don't know. Yeah, cilantro. I want to tell you that you're not missing out, but kind of are. No, I'm just kidding. I feel like any sort of fresh vegetable kind of has a similar effect with cilantro because, like, I usually eat cilantro with, like pho or some other like sort of thick, hearty, savory meal. So it sort of adds that nice freshness to it. But I feel like you could use other herbs. Yeah, salsa is really good. But I mean, I also feel like you could make that without cilantro and it'd still be pretty good. But yeah, I don't know. Cucumbers are also like a good thing to add freshness to stuff. They wouldn't really work with salsa though. I wonder if there's any like gene that makes cucumbers taste weird to people because I've never really liked fresh cucumbers just alone. But I know people who like love cucumber water. Jackie, yeah, totally. Actually, if you have any suggestions on what else I should mention, because I was pretty much just going to talk about what the weeds are and how they're useful, and also why it's potentially not a good idea to use like pesticides and stuff. Um, I mean, I guess it makes sense to mow your lawn, otherwise it'll get like super tall. But yeah, dandelion. I knew somebody who used to make dandelion wine, and I should talk to them about that because that'd be really cool. I can't imagine it tasting it good though, because dandelions are very bitter, and alcohol is bitter, kind of. But maybe it tastes really good. I think they also would use violets to make like purple honey. I mean, basically like infusing honey with violets. But yeah, I'm super excited for the spring. I'm just gonna. My plan is also to like eat wild salads. Get some beech leaves, some linden tree leaves, red bud flowers, dandelions, um, mustard family flowers, spring beauties. I don't know. I want to like start living in a way that utilizes the seasons to my advantage more often. Like every spring, I say that I want to eat a bunch of wild edibles, but I only do it like a few days. I kind of like I want to at least try to go a week subsisting mostly off of wild forage edibles. And like in the winter, I've always thought it'd be cool if you could like turn your freezer off and just store stuff outside, but never actually tried doing that. But also with how volatile winters are these days, maybe that's not not possible. Yeah, green onions, that's a good idea. Yeah, the scallion pancakes. Oh, yeah, those are yeah. That's another good thing we could make on a camping trip is scallion pancakes. That wouldn't be too hard to make. And we basically made stuff like that. Ah, farmers market. That's a good idea. I love going to. I wish like I mean I don't know. Maybe I'm not looking hard enough, but I wish more cities had stuff like that more often. I mean, Columbus, it has farmers markets like here and there. No, I mean it has them weekly. I just don't go enough. But one thing I do wish Columbus had more of was a night market. I think there is one like somewhere, but the idea of like an outdoor night market, that's my favorite thing in the world. Like in China, I went to this night market where they were just cooking all sorts of weird things. It was awesome. But yeah, I don't know. My mouth is dry because I talk too much. These candles, not real, but it's not turning on. Maybe it needs more sunlight. Okay, well, here's a question. Where should we go to eat tonight? Because I was thinking going to a place called Fat Burger. Because somebody was telling me about, so it's like a burger joint out west, and they have something called the Impossible Burger, which is a burger that looks and tastes just like real meat, but is made entirely out of plants. And like you can even order it like medium rare, and they even put like hemoglobin in it, so it has like that sort of red juicy stuff. Oh, you've had it, South? Is it expensive? Because I feel like I heard about it before, and I remember they said it was kind of pricey, but I really want to try that. And I think it'd be fun to like maybe have everybody test it, test one once we're all out here. So maybe I'll just wait until Bryan and Robby get out here. I don't know. Okay, so Emmy, you've also had one. It's pretty cool. I mean, we're like I'm not vegetarian, but I used to be, so I totally appreciate when people who are vegetarian feel like frustrated at limited options. But it's really cool that we're moving in a direction where there's more and more options. But I've also interacted with vegans who are way too pushy about their diet, so I get that too. Yeah, no, I feel like if you're eating a normal veggie burger, you're eating it specifically because you want something that's different. Like I really like veggie burgers, but I don't go in expecting it to taste like a normal burger. I expect it to taste like a veggie burger, which I enjoy also. But yeah. Okay, Robby, if you're still watching, I'll let you decide. Should we eat an Impossible Burger once you and Bryan all get out here so we can all test it and film it, or should me and Thomas go get it now? Oh, you've never had it. No, yeah, I think we're definitely going to try it at some point. Okay, I will wait, yeah. Pancake. You know, do you know that there's an IHOP like just down the street? Is that why you said that? Because I've been jogging outside and running by it every day. Well, not every day, but whenever I go jogging. Andy says I've had one of I wasn't crazy about it. You prefer black bean burgers for a veggie alternative. I mean, that's fair. Like I feel like veggie burgers are totally tasty. It's just if like I never go into it expecting meat. But portobello burgers are good. Yeah, I think Bryan and I used to sometimes make like roasted portobellos. Oh, well, that's the neighbors in the stairwell, but we would make like portobellos and put cheese and basically like pizza ingredients on top of it. It's really good. Yeah, breakfast for dinner is always good. So I stopped my vegetarianism actually because I went to China, which is kind of ironic because it's actually really easy to be vegetarian in China. But I also just really wanted to try a bunch of different foods. Um, but I will say I feel like 90% of what I eat is vegetables. So I would wager that my meat consumption is lower than the average person. So just trying to justify it. Yeah, I mean, you know I love mushrooms too. Emmy, have you by any chance ever had? I don't know if I'm saying your name right, but have you ever by any chance had wild mushrooms, like any sort of wild mushroom? Because I mean, on the topic of vegetarianism, if we could find a way to farm chicken of the woods, like it'd be awesome. Because I made this chicken fajita with it one time, and it tastes just like it. And I think, like Robby, you've had hen of the woods, and no, you've had chicken of the woods too, but he can attest to the fact that it's very similar to the real thing. It's not quite a one-to-one thing. Well, if you can somehow find, I don't know if you even live in a climate that has like, well, I mean, everywhere has mushrooms, but I don't know if you live in an area where they're pretty abundant. But if you get your hands on some, it's worth it. Like chicken of the woods, dryad saddle, those are all mushrooms that are pretty easy to identify, and you won't mistake it for anything else. Same with lion's mane. Anything like lion's mane or any mushroom that sort of looks like it, there's not really any poisonous lookalikes. Oh yeah, Maryland. So it might take a little longer for the mushrooms to start sprouting because I think that's like sort of north. I mean, I know it's north. I just don't know how north. Sometimes states that I think are like way further north than Ohio are actually the same. Wait, no, this is south of Ohio. Oh, okay. So I am wrong. I just think of all of New England as being like kind of far north. Okay, well, it is 7:58. Oh, it's close to Shenandoah. Yeah, that's right. You can take a train from DC and stuff. So I am probably gonna end the stream in, let's say, 10 minutes. Yeah, 10 minutes. Well, I don't know. Maybe I'll stay longer. I'll feel it out and see if Thomas is ready to do anything. But if you have any more questions or if you have any requests for me to do weird things on camera, let me know now. Yeah, I was just gonna cook in the kitchen. They're all busy in there. I kind of do want to start like making these live streams more than just a question and answer thing. Okay, I'll show you Thomas. Just because it's fun to do stuff. Yeah. Where is he? Oh, Robby just wanted to show everybody you again.
Here's my beard. Here's Robby. Show us Thomas again. Fluent hello, everyone. Field notes from Wildspace have to duck out now. Thanks for the stream. Thank you. South says hi. Hi, Thomas. Hi, South. Hi, Jason. How's everyone doing?
President's note.
You look like a long lost black.
You do. That's hilarious. Like the way your hair is also. Like,
sure. Yeah. What is it? Hi, turtles.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, you're welcome to keep.
No, I mean, I gotta keep.
Okay. By the way, how, like, should I keep streaming? Like, you're not.
I mean, we don't need you.
Okay.
That's what you're worried about.
Yeah. Okay.
No, we don't need you.
Okay. Oh, I should. Okay, let me ask these questions first, or answer these, and then I'll ask some questions for you guys. Are you and the guys fluent in any other languages? Not fluent, but me, Bryan, and Robby are barely conversational in Chinese. Oh, well, no, Robby is, I would call him very conversational in Japanese. I mean, from an outsider, I would say he's fluent, but I don't know if he would say that. Field notes from Wild Spaces. Thanks for joining us. Have a good one. Oh, Emmy, awesome. Thank you so much for joining. And yeah, I'm really glad you like the bloopers. And yeah, I hope the commentaries are also enjoyable to watch because I feel like it's fun for us to make them sometimes. So I'm curious if of the people who actually no, yeah, if you celebrate Passover or Easter or both for some reason, what did you do this weekend? And I can tell you what I did. I went to this place called the Magic Castle that Thomas got tickets for. Actually, his roommate's dad is a magician. You have to like know somebody to get in. It's like this cool little house that has like, you go into this lobby, you say "Open Sesame" to an owl, and this like fake bookshelf opens up. And like brunch, they had an amazing brunch. They had like lox, they had crab legs. It was super fancy. So I have to thank Thomas again for that. But believe it or not, I saw the CEO of Amazon there. I saw Jeff Bezos. I would recognize his bald head anywhere. But apparently we also saw whoever plays Lily on How I Met Your Mother, but I don't watch that show, so I didn't realize that. But then after that, we also, so his sister was in town, which is the main reason we went, because she's always wanted to go. And he just ended up getting a third ticket somehow. But after that, we went to one of his friends' like Easter brunch parties. Yeah, just kind of drank a decent amount of champagne. I don't know if that's sacrilegious, but it was mimosas, Andy, I'm glad you love the commentaries and bloopers. Oh, you camped in Shenandoah. That's awesome. How was it? I bet it's beautiful around this time of year. Although was it like raining? Because I've heard, at least in Ohio, it's been raining for the past several weeks, or for as long as it's been out here. At least. Yeah, the neighbor. I don't know them that well, but I think their dog is named Vanilla. I bet Thomas would know. Cold and windy. That's interesting. I wish I could like walk around town holding this laptop. Then I would have the internet. I feel like cold and windy is tough, but it can be kind of fun and like kind of really cool when you're camping. What trail, Jackie, did you go on? Out of curiosity. So Andy says I camped at the Lost Maples Park, or just Lost Maples Park, about 3.5 hours southwest southwest of Austin. Okay. I'll have to keep that in mind. I don't know. We probably won't be able to make it to there, but. Oh, your dog's named Vanilla? Is that a common name for dogs? Or? That's really funny. White Oak Canyon. Okay. I should become more familiar with Shenandoah because that's the first place I ever went backpacking. But Lost Maples is beautiful. Oh, okay. I'll have to check that out. It's funny because I have no idea, like when I think of Texas, all I ever think of is like big open deserts, saguaro cactuses, and those tumbleweeds. But I know that there's like a lot more to it than that, especially near the river, I imagine. Look at Thomas. West Texas. Okay, yeah, that's what I figured. That makes sense. I mean, Texas is huge. Are there mountains in Texas anywhere? That and Pedernales State Park are my two favorites. Awesome. Both forest heavy with spring-fed rivers running through them. That's really cool. Yeah. I still need to fix my sleeping mat. I really not got around to that. Oh, Guadalupe Mountains. Okay. I'll look that up. Okay, yeah, that's really cool. Those are really cool mountains. Yeah, I wish I had a way to show you guys some of the videos and photos from our trips. Maybe I can. Oh, I know. I will point my Instagram feed at the camera. You guys can see some of the photos that I took while we were on our little mini road trip. I'm hoping to see if we can plan another hot spring somewhere along in the road trip that we're all taking, just because it was so cool. Okay, let me see. So that is the hot spring area. The blue water is not the hot spring, but there was some water. It looks like Mongolia to me or something. I have no idea what Mongolia looks like, but I imagine it looks like that. So this is Lake Mono from an overlook on the highway. And yeah. I think this is the sunset on Lake Tahoe. So that's actually a good story. Well, not really a story, but just one of Thomas's friends who lives out in Tahoe was able to hook us up with a half off, like discounted price for this cruise that we went on. It was so awesome because basically like they have a bunch of free alcohol and a bunch of really good appetizers, and you're just on this beautiful lake in the evening, and the sun setting. And like, I don't know, that's like, I think that is some of life's most simple joys. It's just like being on a boat, wind in your hair. Although I was inside for a good amount of it. But that was like one of the nicest boats I've ever seen. So Nancy, I would say there were like maybe 20 people at most, 25 maybe at the most at a time. I don't know. I feel like it's not like a super well-known hot spring, but it's really cool and not too far from LA. Okay, let me pull some more pictures up. So this is Thomas while we're snowshoeing, and that's the views of the lakes. Then this was the drive to Tahoe, which there's a story there too, because the snow chains that Thomas got were way too small for the tires, so we had to go buy some more at another place. And I don't know, for some reason those things were just really hard to put on. And I put them on, and one of the tires was fine, but the other one started falling off. And we were told that there were people you pay to put them on, but we didn't see anybody. So then Thomas eventually just like took both of them off and redid them one by one, and somehow we got it working. But yeah, it was like super blustery, and at first we didn't even believe that we needed the chains because the roads looked clear enough. It didn't look any worse than an Ohio winter, but when you got further up, it definitely got pretty snowy. Let me see what else. Oh, here's some delicious tacos that we had in Tahoe. So that is a fish taco. I'm trying to get the light out there. Fish taco at the top, and then lengua, which, if you don't know, is beef tongue. I don't know. You know how I am about these weird meats. Now this is Point Reyes. This is, I mean, not exactly on the point, but this is at the park. And we actually started a campfire on the beach, which you're allowed to do if you use driftwood, and cooked some ramen. And it was really windy, kind of annoying to do, but totally worth it. This is some of the spring greenery that was growing at Point Reyes. Those are, I think, horsetails. And I don't know, it was just such a pleasant place. This is a huge tree. I still don't know what tree this is. It'd be easy to look up. I just haven't gotten around to it. But it had really distinct looking seeds that had like a star shape on one side and 3 ridges on the other. Oh, awesome. Emmy, where did you go? I'm trying to remember. I think we hiked out from the Laguna Trail, but I forget what the name of the trail we hiked in on was. But it's funny because as we hiked in Point Reyes, it felt like we were going through different places. Like some parts of it felt like the East, some parts of it felt like Yellowstone, some parts of it there was just the ocean and the beach. Certain parts felt like the Appalachians. It was so interesting. Yeah, I hope the videos turn out good. It's definitely been pretty epic, and I'm very thankful that Thomas was able to show me around. It's pretty easy to convince you to move out to California when you get to see all the stuff that it has. We also went to San Francisco. That's some of the architecture. We talked a lot about the movie The Room, which takes place there. I don't know if you all have seen that. Oh, I'll show you some photos also from when we saw Conan. This is the Iron Throne, which I feel like Conan would probably call Iron Cone Bone or something, the Cone Throne. This is a big Lego Conan in a superhero Conan suit that he had made one time. Giant. Oh, you guys saw this one already. But this is the set of Conan. And actually, the Conan show is free. You just have to show up early. Oh, you got there too late. That's too bad. It is, yeah, because Point Reyes is super beautiful, and like you can't camp on the beach, but you can camp really close and start a fire out there if you collect enough firewood. I kept seeing these like tiny little blue jellies. I still need to look up what those are too. Super interesting. Okay, so I think I'm going to call it a day. It's been a little over an hour. And also because the neighbors are starting to argue about something. I don't want to get in their business. But yeah, here we are in Thomas's apartment. So yeah, I'll just let people ask any last questions if they have any, and if not, you can see we've got the some snacks here in the kitchen. And yeah. Oh, this is actually pretty cool. Thomas can show you this next time, but he has got all these little vials with corks on them, and they're full of little things from places he's hiked. What? I was just showing them your vials. Yeah. So is this map an old map? Is that map like, isn't that really old?
Yeah. How long is this live stream going? How many people are here? 13?
Yeah, it's only been an hour. I'm about to end it. But...
Yeah, it's an old map of National Park. Used to be in my office. My roommate got it for me. It's quite nice.
How old is it?
Oh, 50, 60 years. That's pretty cool.
So that's like 1960, late 60s?
It's late 50s. Copyright 1960.
1960, that's really cool.
What, 58 years old?
I guess so. Oh, here's a journal I made. Came out here. I can't believe it's been 4 years.
I've done my best to do it. Not nearly as. There's my crappy attempt to draw Mount Baldy. There's Yosemite
Falls.
there's San Antonio, all this stuff. Here, you can show them.
What? Sorry.
Got some pins here. This is from Vasquez, which he recently went to. Okay, thank you all for joining. Have a good day. And yeah, I'll see you around. Actually, no, I should mention, I don't know if we're going to have a live stream next Monday. We're going to be in Vegas, but we might be busy filming and gambling away all our money. No, I'm just kidding. But I don't know. Maybe we'll have a stream like late at night once we get back to the hotel. Kind of play it by ear. But if there's not a stream, then we'll probably at least have a weekly update post at some point. Okay. Thank you, everybody. Have a good one.